Are you trying to build the best team in Madden? Well, head on over to instantmuttcoins.com to avoid the packs, save some racks. Link is in the description below. Use code CC now for 20% off. Hey, what is going on, Madden family? We're here to talk about next gen Madden, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X or Series S versions, and just kind of give you my thoughts on it. I've played over 50 games now on it, which is a lot, and I feel like this is like a first impression, right? And at times I want to compare it to old gen, and at times just in general how the game is. Now there's obviously a couple things that we all, if you've played it or if you've seen people play it, things that really stand out to you, right? And I agree. I think the player movement is a little too slow, and I say too slow because I went through and was timing things frame by frame for receivers running down the field to say, like, how is the speed of the game? The speed of the game actually at the end of the day is faster. Once a player reaches their top speed, they are actually faster in an old gen or a new gen, sorry, next gen, whatever you want to call it, next gen versus old gen, faster, right? The problem is that them getting to that speed point takes longer, okay? So it's the acceleration, agility, and change of direction, which are the problem here. It's not the actual speed rating within the game. Now, what I've found as well is anytime you are trying to move your stick, maneuver a player, whether it's an offensive player or defensive player, if you kind of move your stick, we'll just sort of show you guys here, right? Any bit more than like 15 to 20 degrees is where the problem starts to lie. It sort of feels that way, right? You can do very subtle movements with the stick and not really lose a lot of momentum. But anytime you're doing anything more than that, that's when the problems really do occur. The cutting back, covering multiple routes and all that, that's where we're seeing the issues, okay? Now, with that being said, a lot of it as well means that normally when we're on defense and stuff, and you're holding like the turbo button or you're hitting turbo a lot, the less you do that, the better control you do have over your player. That's just sort of a heads up for people. If you're running the ball or doing stuff as well, only use turbo going straight, right? Not that that's the way I love it, but that is just indeed the way it is. So I feel like that does need to be resolved. Somehow, some way, it does, right? The speed of the game, it does look and appear slow. I get it. Trust me, I've been through it. Another thing that I really see as an issue in the game is the way that zones are reacting. And I feel like part of that is also due to the first issue. Now, I'm sure there could be some buffing on actual reaction times for zones. But what you are seeing a lot of with these zones is when you have a receiver running their route, especially if they're unbumped or anything like that, they're taking off and they are going and they're hitting their full speed rather quickly at that point, right? Someone like a Tyreek Hill. These defenders who are in these zones, they are backpedaling, they are shuffling to get back, and then all of a sudden they start to, once the receiver's coming near them, they start to run with them. The problem is that they are not at 100% of their speed at that time. They're not reacting quick enough to that. So again, because of that little delay that is in there, we have player one running as fast as possible and player two not running as fast as possible. That causes problems. Additionally, just because of the way that the zones are reacting and how they are biting down on kind of odd things, that probably will get a buff at some point. EA is known for changing the way that zones react. I assume that'll happen at some point. I don't know when, but at some point that probably will happen as well. Seen a lot about route running as well. The route running is a little different, maybe even odd at times. If you try to throw a baby 5-yard out, it kind of looks like a slant out more than anything else. Is it good or is it bad? Honestly, I still don't know at this point, right? Now, when we talk about the fun of the game, these games are very high scoring. There is defense in the game. There's definitely defense. Take it from me, I've shot a lot of people out. Maybe they're not the best players, but there is defense in the game at times. It needs to change a little bit. I think that a more offensive game is more fun, personally. I think where a game like this, where you have to make more adjustments, take more risks, really change up what you're doing on defense, I kind of prefer that style of game. That's a little extreme, but I will always prefer this, and you guys know this. I don't like a big man coverage meta in the game. Again, that's just me. That's my personal opinion. If you enjoy it, by all means, that's what you enjoy. But for me, a lot of this, well, I'm going to press, I'm going to shade over the top, and then I'm going to lock everything up. I don't like that. I want to be able to have to adjust. I want someone to have to adjust to what I am doing on offense, and vice versa. So I think for me personally, it's a little more fun in that aspect, right? I don't feel like I'm getting sort of EA'd as much at times. Now, there are definitely things I have been EA'd on, but certain things I've noticed a lot less. The fall forward from running backs and ball carriers is far less. I think that's a good thing. I've had far fewer throw out of sacks, interceptions, and all that. Now, some of that may be the way I play, but nonetheless, that's exactly what I've seen. I'm playing the same way as I played on the old gen, right? So I'm seeing a couple of these things, but there's also other things which are good about the game. Okay? Now, obviously the graphics, but who really cares about the graphics, right? So we'll go into practice here, and just to look at some stuff. Again, we're not talking about graphics or load times or anything like that. It doesn't really matter. This play call screen up here, people are like, I don't really like it. Well, you got to really use it and get used to it. It's the same thing as anything. Once you get used to it, I actually like it better at this point. Now, there are things that you will take quite a few games to get used to. The idea of the favorites play. I love that idea. How it saves across games. You don't have to set it every game. That's great. I love that. Right? Going through and getting your formations and your subs and all that. I like it. Again, it just took a lot of getting used to. Once I got used to it, it's fine. I haven't had any sort of issues these last 25 games that I've played. The first 25, I was calling timeouts and trying to figure stuff out, but now I'm used to it. But I do like it more, right? One thing I don't like, though, here is when your opponent calls their play and you're on defense, the box for says that they've called their play is really small. It's kind of hard to see. There's many times I've just been sort of waiting on them to see what their play is going to be before I make my defensive play call, and I miss it. Again, it can be a little tricky, so I'm having to focus a little bit more than normal. It doesn't catch your eye very well. I think it was kind of a poor design. It's not the hill I want to die on for them to fix. But that's the thing. So with the gameplay, if you are playing this game the way you were playing old gen, you shouldn't. You really shouldn't. It is a very different game. It takes getting used to, right? It really does. It's not the worst game I've ever played. Definitely not. And if we say that it's the worst game we've ever played, I can show you guys some other games that were way worse than this. I don't think it's where it needs to be at all. I am in full agreement with everyone that I've seen, everyone whose opinion I trust. But I do think the game I'm enjoying it more. And again, that really comes from, I don't like the way that old gen played. This isn't I'm enjoying this. It's a great game. I'm enjoying it because I really, really did not like old gen Madden. I really did not like playing it. It was not a very fun experience for me. All I look for when I'm playing Madden is fun. I don't need it to be the most realistic. I don't need it to be the most arcadey or simulation. I don't need any of that. I just want to have fun. When I sit down for that 30 minutes, I want to have fun. Yeah, my players are slow. I don't really like that. I feel like Madden needs a little more arcadiness to it as opposed to more simulation or realism, right? There's obviously other bugs and other issues in the game. Some of the stuff is carried across from old gen to next gen. Totally get that. There's obviously little things in the game, which is really, how is that still a thing? But I don't want to focus on the little things and just the big things here. Now, Clint has said that they did not foresee speeding up the game. I think that's a really bad idea. Just saying that outright was a really bad take. I think saying, hey, we will take your feedback, right? And we'll listen, and then we'll make a judgment call there, as opposed to really just sort of telling us, no, play it more, get used to it. Okay, well, as you get used to anything, it becomes more common and more normal to you, right? And I think that's a really bad way of trying to force the game onto people instead of giving people the game that they want, right? I don't like that. I don't like that concept. I don't like that idea. And I hope that they do sit down and they do listen to us, and we take small steps. I don't want EA to go in and just put their foot down on the gas and change everything. I want to take small steps because ideally, I think I and everyone watching this, you want this to be a good game. You want this to evolve into a good game. You want Madden 22 to be a great game. We need you to show us that we can get there by taking these small steps. Anytime EA takes a really big step on something, they break something else happens, we go too far, we need to bring it back. I don't want that. I'm okay with taking these small steps. Give us a patch every week, every 2 weeks. Really, really small stuff to just slowly increase it. Right? It's not that hard. I'm gonna keep playing on next gen. That's just me. I know a lot of people have decided not to. But if you decide that you want to come to next gen and we want to cover more stuff about how the game is and the proper way to play the game, we can do that as well. Right now, I'll just say I'm unhappy where the game landed. I'm unhappy, even though I'm having more fun. That's totally relative to the fun I was having before. This isn't the hit on the mark that I was expecting and I was hoping for. But as we say with a lot of Maddens, and maybe this is just, we're fools for believing it sometimes, that with a couple little changes, this could be a better game. I don't want to say good. I don't want to say great. I don't know if they can make that stride. But I think it has potential. Let's wait and see. The good thing is if you want to stay on old gen, by all means, stay on old gen. Save your money. Don't rush out. Buy the Xbox or the PlayStation 5. No rush. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you've actually played, let me know your thoughts. And I hope they get this in the right place. It doesn't sound like they're willing to make some of the changes we want yet, but I think with enough voices about the game, and again, come back with creative, real suggestions instead of just the game sucks. You got to break it down a little bit more to be heard sometimes, and that's what this video is going to be used for as well. I hope that EA sees this, and I think they will, honestly. And I'm coming not from a place of anger in this video either. It's just this is my honest take. There are things I like about the game. There are things I dislike about the game. The things I dislike are the same things everyone else dislikes. But it feels like I'm rambling at this point, but I have seen a lot of people also say that they enjoy the speed of the game. I just think it needs to be tuned up a bit and then fix the zones, because they got to be able to go. People have to be able to guard something, but I want to fix the reactions on players first. If that is fixed first or adjusted up, then I think we will see the uptick in the game speed. We will see the uptick in reactions on players, the uptick in how coverage is better for man and even zone, right? Just a thought there. Could be wrong. Either way, hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm out. Peace.